What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Man, today we're going to be installing our S1 rear trailing arm 5-lug conversion. Today's a lot of learning, a lot to do, and a lot to install, and we're just going to jump right into it. So this package right here we got a couple of days ago, and big shout out to S1BUILT because they got this out super quick. And I've been putting it off because I need to take care of some other important things, like obviously the radiator, the shifter box, the shifter cables, and a couple of things off camera that are just very minor. But now we're finally getting to it. So let's go ahead and open this up and show you guys what we are rocking with. I did put a new blade on this, man. It's cutting like butter, but just remember, cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. Beautiful packaging by the S1 fam, well packed, and this box literally got to me in perfect shape. I'm gonna pull everything out of the box so I can show you guys this without everything being in the way. Be sure to give S1BUILT a follow on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. It's literally the same name on all of their social media, S1BUILT. Don't look for happiness, all-wheel drive it. I'm gonna have to cut this up really carefully because this is a freshly powder coated trailing arm, and I can already see that this thing looks freaking incredible. Bubble wrap, bubble wrap. Now on the H2B CRX, we went with the Alpha 6 trailing arm, which is a stainless steel trailing arm that is designed for a much wider wheel and tire combo. This time around, because I know I'm not going to go super aggressive with the tire wheel combo, this time around I decided to stick with the OEM trailing arm, which is the factory Civic or Integra arm with the modified hub assembly for the all-wheel drive system. And this one looks freaking beautiful, man. I'm telling you guys, S1 go above and beyond to make sure their product are top-notch and high quality. Also looking as beautiful as it is, they do offer custom powder coating, so if you guys want the trailing arm a certain color, whatever, you know, contact them and they will powder coat whatever you need, whatever color you want it to be. This S1 trailing arm, guys, beautiful masterpiece. And I was at the S1 shop, man, and Jit gets down with the welds, bro. This thing looks freaking amazing. And the beautiful touch too is the S1 badge right here on the top to make sure people know what you are rocking with. I'm always gonna be rocking with S1BUILT, and you know what I'm saying, like, I've always had amazing results with all of their products. This is an all-wheel drive trailing arm, obviously, and my rear hub is the 5-lug setup with the hole for the axles right here. Now I know a lot of you guys were telling me the budget way of doing 5-lug conversion is to use ITR hubs, and then you use like the Mazda / Protege axle nut to bolt everything in. Now this doesn't apply for me because we're going all-wheel drive, obviously, but for those who are trying to do a budget rear trailing arm for the 5-lug conversion, the forum and a lot of you guys in the comment below mentioned the way to do it is the ITR hubs with the Protege nut. So the caliper and rotor stuff, that's really going to depend on you whether you're going to keep it OEM or big brake setup. So for me, we're going to be keeping it OE style, but a second alternative option for the rear caliper setup, because it is kind of hard or expensive to find the ITR caliper and rotor, but we'll talk about that once we install it. But for the trailing arm, you just use your Civic Integra trailing arm with the ITR hubs with the Protege nut if you are front wheel drive. And if you're all wheel drive, I mean, just hit up S1, man. Save you guys the hassle. 5-lug the easy way, right? If you guys are interested in any S1 item, whether it's apparel or products on your car, be sure to hit the link in the description below and use the discount code to save yourself 10% off from your order. And I'm telling you guys, once you go all-wheel drive, it's a game changer. And use that as a chair. So tearing apart the trailing arm is pretty straightforward, guys. I'm not going to run you through it entirely, but simple enough to take off the trailing arm. You have the camber arm that goes to the chassis, two 14mm bolts. If you're using the same LCA, you're going to be taking off this 14 right here, which is going to separate the trailing arm from the LCA. If you're taking the whole entire thing off because you're changing it, you take it off from the inside and the shock here. And then underneath here, we have the trailing arm bushings, which has two 17mm, one right there, one right there. And then going underneath in the front, we have the toe, which is this arm here. And if you're using the factory toe, you take off this 14 right there. And then if you're changing the arm mount, you take it off from over there, right? And then you go inside the car, you're gonna be taking off the e-brake cable from the handle itself, and you disconnect that from the handle, pull it through the chassis, right underneath here, and then you pull the whole trailing arm out. So I'm gonna go ahead and just yank those off real quick. Today's weather is super overcast. The entire week was straight up sun, and when I decided to do the trailing arm, this is the weather we deal with. Anyways, I forgot to scrub the entire wheel well and coat it with some 3M rubberized coating, and I'm gonna do that really quickly before I gotta take off. I gotta go to the cemetery to visit my dad for his birthday today, and I want to knock this out so we can have some dry time. So quick little scrub, quick little spray, and we'll be on our way. That rhymed. Had to run into my storage unit real quick to grab my e-brake cables. These are from my DA trailing arms, and we're gonna try to make this work. We'll also talk about some of the things that I was told and some of the research that I found about using calipers and brackets and all that good stuff. I think this lamp is KO. It's no more working, my friend. No more working. And I know the connection works good because this one, Harbor Freight, all day, day. So that's unfortunate. But guys, we are back home, and obviously it's dark as hell outside. I went to go check out the wheel well. It's semi-dry, and because it's nightfall, we're gonna let it dry throughout the night. But we are still gonna try to prep the trailing arm, and what the trailing arm needs right now is trailing arm bushings. So the S1 OEM trailing arm does not come with bushings, so that way you as the user, if you're running this trailing arm, you can put whatever you want to put in here. OEM, energy suspension, spherical from any of the companies. You can run hard race, you can run, like I said, whatever you want, sticks and stones. So what I need to do is I need to go to my pile right there, find my trailing arm bushings so we can get those pressed in. This one feels heavy, and it feels like there's more than one thing's inside. Cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. Okay, for some reason, I thought I bought Hard Race, but we have True Hearts, Honda Civic EG, EK, EF, DC2 CRV trailing arm bushing. This is the part number right there. This is the hardened bushing, so it's a little bit more firmer than the OE. Let's go ahead and open this up. I've never actually ran true hard bushings before. This time around, we're not going to be running spherical, and because we already have spherical everything else, we're just going to run these hardened rubber bushings. Now looking at my OE arms, it looks like the long side is on the inside and the short's on the outside. Good reference. And also it looks like it's pretty parallel to the trailing arm, and the bushing itself, the race, is flush up against the outside of the trailing arm. So all I gotta do is press it in until it becomes flush, and we should be Gucci potatoes. But I'll take measurements just in case too. I got the first trailing arm bushing installed. I did this one just to see how I was gonna go about doing it. So I tried this like this little C-clamp press thingamabob right here that my brother bought. And it doesn't work with this because this is not the correct one. You need the one with the claw, so that way it can grip here while pushing the bushing into the trailing arm without interfering with this guy here. So this was not a go for me, and I ended up just taking the cup and then I took it to my press over here. Don't worry guys, I'll show you on the other one. I took it to my press over here and then pretty much just pressed the bushing in, easy peasy. And what I did first was I took a hammer, slightly tapped the bushing into place so it doesn't, like, you know, go walking around when you're trying to use the press. So I tapped it in place and then aligned the trailing arm bushing. So I did say that the trailing arm bushing was supposed to be parallel with this, but what I did was I clocked it just a little bit because this is rubber bushing with infused wishbone. So what I did was I slightly clocked it because the car is going to be lowered, trailing arm is going to twist going up, and I didn't take a picture. That was a freaking Harbor Freight light tweaking out. But anyways, I angled it a little bit because when the car gets lowered, trailing arm is going to move and then it should straighten out the bushing. So pretty much what I did was I preloaded the bushing, if it makes sense. But anyways, before I continue with the passenger side, what I did was I measured out the depth of this bushing here to make sure that we're about the same as the OEM arms, and we're pretty close. And if it was off by just a smidge, the toe arm should correct it, no problem. And I want to show you guys that really quickly what I did here. So I'm going to set my caliper here to 0 in millimeters, just because we're just using it for reference. We're not being too specific here. And all I did was pull this down to the depth of the race of the bushing, and right there we are sitting at 5.08 millimeters. Over here we are sitting at 5.05, like literally. Trailing arm bushing, long side inside, short side outside, and you're supposed to center it parallel, but I'm going to clock it just a smidge, okay? You can feel it starts getting like stiffer and it moves less. Now we're going to take it to the press. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 flat stock on the bushing itself because the biggest cup that I have don't actually fit the entire race of the bushing. Sorry, my light is kind of acting up again. So we have the trailing arm bushing nice and straight. Now let's go ahead and just press this all the way through. So right now we are flushed up against the side of the arm, and before I go any further, I'm gonna go ahead and just double check this. Set this back to 0. Go ahead and measure this out. We are 5.71, almost 6 millimeters. Almost 6 millimeters. I think it'll be okay. We're still within the 5.
Looking fire.
All right, guys, let's talk rear calipers. So these right here are RSX base model calipers I got from the junkyard. I don't know if they're different between the Type S, but we got the base model because that's all they had. And we're going to be rocking this as a second option to calipers for 5-lug conversion. Now, when I was reading the comments in the caliper video, a lot of people were like throwing out some tips and tricks of how to make all of this work flawlessly. And I'm going to run you guys through some of it real quick. So the caliper bracket is the same as ITR, and a lot of people are saying that you could use the RSX bracket with a regular Integra rear caliper. The caliper is this right here, which houses the piston, and it should bolt up and should have the correct mechanism for your Ebrake cable, and everything should work like it should. As far as I've done some reading online, ITR and regular Integra, the ITR has a bigger brake pad, and I think that's like the more beneficial thing from the ITR caliper, but the Integra stuff will work perfectly fine from the regular models, according to some of you guys. So that was one of the alternate option, RSX bracket, regular Integra, rear caliper, and everything here should work perfectly. And then the second one people were telling me were you could run the full RSX caliper, but you can change this out to the Integra mechanism. So it's 117, they told me, is right here on the top. And you can just take this off, put the Integra on, bolt it back up, should be Gucci potatoes. So because I don't have another Integra rear caliper pair, I don't have just an Integra mechanism, I decided, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. The RSX has a hook style system for the Ebrake cable. You guys see this little cove right here, this little dip? So what I ended up doing was I welded it shut, and then I drilled a hole for a pin to use the Integra Ebrake cable. So here's the difference, if you guys can see, right? You see the hook, and you see it's welded and drilled, right? And another thing too, in order to run the RSX Ebrake cable bracket with the Integra Ebrake cables, you have to mill out this hole right here. You see how it's full circular? Where the RSX originally has a little like half moon in there. All I did was took a carbide burring tool, and I made this into a full circle, right? Made into a full circle. That way it'll allow the Ebrake cable to go through. I'll show you guys right here. Goes all the way through. You can put a clip in there to secure it. And then the pin style, the little fork on the end here, would just go right into the hole that we drilled through. And then you can just use your Integra pin, and then that'll secure the cable to the mechanism to use your Ebrake handle. I don't have the pin. What I did was I just tapped it for a 10 mil, it's threaded, and I can just put a bolt all the way through, put some Loctite or a nut on the backside, and it'll work and swivel like it should. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be running RSX rear calipers, Integra Ebrake cable, RSX bracket, RSX rotor, and RSX brake pads. That is what we're going to be doing for our rear trailing arm. So before we get the S1 trailing arm into the car, we're going to unbox a few more things. These pieces are beautiful. So this package right here came from Steve at H Motors Online. I buy a lot of stuff from Steve, and when Steve gets a lot of stuff in his container that is not the usual item that he sells on his website, he sells them for really, really great deals. Remember, guys, cut away from yourself, not towards yourself. Woo, we got some new stickers. Oh man, give me a blue one. Say less. I can feel how heavy this thing is. So guys, this right here, Steve was giving a killer deal for. Usually when Steve gets stuff that aren't the usual items he sell at H Motors, he lets them go for very cheap. And because these looked almost practically brand new, and I needed it for the build, I was like, you know what? Probably gonna be the best 90 bucks I'm going to spend. So guys, these are PCI Honda spherical camera kits. Yes, sir. These are really nice pieces. I ain't gonna lie to you. I wanted to keep a lot of the stuff underneath the car murdered out, like black. PCI's unit are typically black, and the fact that it was spherical and because I needed a camber arm, it was almost a no-brainer move to swoop these up. So shout out to Steve, thank you for the killer deal on these. Which then led me to this package, because this package right here actually came with the H2B CRX side skirts provided by PCI. I ordered it the same time with the side skirts, but they came in two different packages, obviously because size differences. So these right here are lower control arms for my sedan, and these are also, I want to say, spherical. There's 4 boxes in here. Oh, wow. Beautiful. That's so beautiful. We'll get to that in just a second, but let me show you guys the PCI LCA. And this thing, oh my god, it is so freaking beautiful. Wait, I am so freaking confused. Why did he send me these? Okay guys, I made a boo-boo. I did not look at the invoice thoroughly, and they were listed for front lower control arms. I actually didn't even know they had front lower control arms. I was literally looking at just the rear. I guess I didn't specify rear lower control arms, and I got sent the front ones. But regardless of the fact, I originally want front lower control arms on my car anyways, and because I didn't want to fork out the money for it then, I ended up just using the energy suspension bushings for now, and then I was going to get like true hearts or something spherical for the front later. Now we have PCI, so we're probably going to install this a different day, guys. Beautiful unit by PCI. I hit up Brian. I'm ordering the LCA as we speak, so hopefully we get that ball rolling once that shows up. But for right now, we're just going to use the factory lower control arm. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull the factory camber arm to get these adjusted accordingly before we put the trailing arm into the car. Toe, trailing arm bushings, camber arm, lower control arm, fork, and then this one, subframe. I did give the lower control arm a nice little wash, so it looks decent. I'm gonna put the lower control arm first, so that way we can support the trailing arm. All of this is gonna be put on loose until everything's in place, and then we'll tighten it all up. We're gonna put the lower control arm to the shock to hold the LCA up in place. We're gonna be using the shocks that came with the car for now until we unbox the new suspension we're gonna be rocking. I'm gonna put the trailing arm on the lower control arm, and then we'll bolt up the camber just so it can all hang up into place. Try my best to not scratch anything up here. Damn. I'm gonna use the wrench to tighten up the toe. And that is our installation to the 5-lug all-wheel drive S1 OEM style trailing arm. Looking freaking fresh. I'm glad I painted this right here because it was like all mudded up. So everything in here is gonna look freaking awesome. I mean, also when we change that out too. Let's do the driver's side. Ooh-wee. Yes, sir. Okay, so with this caliper, before we get it installed, I'm going to show you guys what I did to modify this for the Integra cable. So let's get right to it. We have an Astro double cut carbide rotary burr set. I used a round one right here. You can see it's a full circle, right? Doesn't take much at all. And now the e-brake cable should just go right through. Yes, sir. You see it right there? All the way through. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the mechanism right here so we can weld it up. This little hook right here. Harbor Freight wire wheel. Wear safety goggles. because if this starts flinging around and it shoots into your eye, it's not going to be a fun time. If you have a freshly painted caliper, make sure you don't touch the paint because it'll take it right off. Ask me how I know. That should be plenty, nice and silver. Right, I'm going to use my TIG machine because I can make it nice and flat. If you don't have a TIG welding machine, a MIG welder will work. You just got to grind more. And if you guys don't have a welding machine at all, you can go with the other options I mentioned in the video. So now we have it all welded up. So we have more meat on there to put a pin or a bolt through to hold the cable to the mechanism. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this up. Got a little belt sander. Now we got to center punch it and drill our hole somewhere here. I'm going to be using 764, and this is like almost perfect to a 10 mil. Again, because I don't have a pin. Okay, I kind of scratched on my paint a little bit, but it's okay. Somebody was like, "Oh, bro, you should make your life easier and just get yourself a Harbor Freight drill and tap and die set." Well, I have it, guys. I've had this for a couple of years now, and I only use one out of here, which is to thread for a 10 mil, which is this one. Put this on my vice grip, and we're all the way through. So I'm gonna go all the way down about midway. Okay, and I'm gonna back it out. So right now I'm gonna install my rear brake lines. I don't know where it's at. Here it is. I'm not going to be needing the rotor right now. I just want to put the caliper on just so I could get the brake lines routed where they need to be, and then put the brake pads and all that stuff in once we get to the bleeding process. This is the R on the left because I want the Ebrake cable to face right side up instead of upside down, as if this was going to be on the passenger side. So that's how it's going to go on. I'm going to go ahead and get this bolted up first. Okay, I don't need both of them on, just one for now. This is 9091 CRX SI with rear disc brakes, so I'm hoping the length is correct for the RSX caliper. Passenger side, all done, and Ebrake cable bracket barely touches the trailing arm, but we should be golden. Hell yeah, brother. Oh, that's beautiful. The rain's here. Even if I put my canopy up, the back half of the car is still sticking out and in the rain, so I got everything bagged up just so it doesn't get all, like, you know what I'm saying, rust up from all of the metal that are metal and not coated. So I'm gonna have to take care of this whenever the rain stops or when we have a clear sky day. So it stopped raining, but it is really cold and my light still doesn't work. So right now I need to bench bleed my brake master because it is brand spanking new. This is the 9091 EX sedan on the stock DX booster. Sorry for the low lighting. Ooh, it's cold. The goal is to get the lines to have all the bubbles clear out, and when it sucks back in, it should be full solid fluid. I couldn't see it from inside the car. Hopefully we're golden there. Honestly, I might do a little bit more off camera just to ensure. So I have my brake master bled out and we have all my lines connected. we got the whole bottom end clean here in case we leaked any brake fluid I didn't see. And I was gonna put my rear rotors on and start bleeding the brake system, but I'd rather do this in the daytime because this light is officially broken. I don't know what's going on. That one right there, I can't rely on, you know, when one dies, I don't have another light. That one works. This one is gonzo. Gonna have to buy another one to replace that, and then we'll put the tarp up so the rain don't go destroying it. It seems like we're gonna be getting rain all week, and again, I'd rather do this in the daytime so you guys can see what I'm doing. And it looks like tomorrow is going to be sunshine and clouds mixed with 13% chance of rain. So I'm going to try to shoot my shot tomorrow with trying to do everything before the rain comes in or before night falls, and just button up the entire brake system. I'm very eager to see this car on all 4 ITR wheels, guys. So looks like we're gonna have to go into day 3, so we'll see you guys in a second. So guys, let's get into our rotor and rear brake pads so that way we can get our system all bled out. O'Reilly's rotors, which says on the box made in China. You can buy it off of eBay, whatever. I bought these because they were a couple bucks cheaper and I can get it local. They are just blanks. I'm gonna test fit the rotor real quick. I also noticed that the hub itself doesn't have the screws for the rotor. This looks good. 10-inch rotor. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm not going to put the rotor onto the hub because we're going to pull it out just to keep something in between the caliper and flip it right side up so we can bleed it with the bleeder upright so we can get all the air out of there. But we also need to put our brake pads on. Okay, so it looks like I'm gonna have to bleed the caliper like this just to make it easier. And like I mentioned, if you have a like pressure bleeder, vacuum bleeder setup, you can bleed it upside down because the pump or the machine would literally suck it straight through all the air out of the system. I did have a leak on my prop valve, and it was this line right here. For some reason I had these 2 loose, so I just tightened it back up, cleaned up all of the fluids, refilled it, repumped it, looking good. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use this right here and start in the rear passenger and start our bleeding process. I broke the bleeder loose so it'd be easier to use it with the hand wrench, and go ahead and just slip the vacuum hose in. We're gonna build some pressure up. Probably gonna put it at like 20 because I'm sure there's gonna be a ton of air in here. I'm gonna put the little port down low here so that way gravity pulls down and not a roller coaster going back up. Oh boy, that is some dirty ass fluid. Golly. I'm gonna leave it open and just pump it. Let it pool. Oh wow, okay. It's already starting to get a little solid. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it back up. Pump this back up to about, I don't know, 20, 25. Oh yeah, that is a lot of air in the system. So I'm gonna do this a couple of times. I'm gonna go back and check up in the front to make sure we're good with the fluid, and then continue until we're solid. Okay, so this caliper is not moving. I'm at 25 PSI, the valve is open, and nothing is coming through. Damn, this thing is so crusty. Where's the freaking hole at? Had to use a wire brush and a welding wire to punch the hole right there. And now we have a hole that works. I'm just going around each corner to try to pull out as much air as possible and then go back and try to get all the lines to be more solid. Okay, we have fluid coming out now. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Okay, one more time. It's starting to become solid. Oh, that is solid. Okay, let me lock this one and we'll move to the front. One more time. Solid. Stiff?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna open this and then I'm gonna need you to pump like 5 times slowly. Go. Oh, it's already solid. Okay, do a pump, hold 5. I mean, 5 time hold. All right, that is solid. Lock this up. Put the cap into place. Alrighty. Want to give a big shout out to the homie Sham Bam for this Matco reservoir, and I did have a pump for it somewhere too. I might have put it in storage, but this thing comes in so much clutch because back in the days I used to use a vacuum line into a water bottle, but this is much more convenient, has a hook on it. But rest in peace to the homie Sham. If you guys go down deep in the channel, probably 10 years ago, I did a feature of his EJ8 fully built GSR turbo, and beautiful car, man. We're gonna be attending his funeral this upcoming Saturday. So now that we have our bleeding system all set and done, guys, we need to put the rotor and the caliper all back into place. So let me go ahead and grab my tools because they're all over the place and get that done. Dead battery. So I went through my shelf and I was looking for some stubbies. This right here is a rear outer axle from a CRV, and I don't know what happened to the rest of it, but we have that. This one right here is an insane shaft rear axle, and I think this will fit. I don't think this is too big to fit into the trailing arm, and we're gonna use both of these. This thing is stripped. We're gonna use both of these to plug up our rear hubs. Let me make sure that thing threads. Okay, I think we're Gucci. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pop off the rear shock, 14 millimeter, swing it out, slide this in, and then put everything back together. So we have both our stubbies on, guys, and the last thing we need to do is the e-brake cable. I'm sure you guys got the concept of how the e-brake cable goes on, exactly how we took it off. It goes back in the same way, and the Integra cables are a little bit longer. Normally when you go disc brakes in an EF, you want to use the 9091 CRX SI e-brake cables, and they are lengthed perfectly. But in my all-wheel drive red CRX, I used Integra cables, and all it did was zigzag a little bit more because it was too long, but it works. So I'm not worried about it like interfering with the gas tank, because obviously the gas tank is going to come out. We're going to put a fuel cell, and then we're going to have all that space underneath the car. So I'm going to struggle with this. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on and get that out of the way, get the e-brake cables adjusted, and then we can throw the ITR wheels on. So guys, super stoked. We went to the parts store this morning, got the line for our brake booster and check valve. That's all connected right there. I did get a longer coolant line because the other one had like 3 adapters in there to make the length. And we have our wheels on the car. Last night we took care of the Ebrake cables, adjusted them accordingly. Obviously the car is holding in place without a wheel chock, and we got the ECU plugged in, we got the battery hooked up, and I'm ready to roll this thing off the driveway. Whew. I'm not gonna go crazy driving this car, nothing like that, guys. The suspension alignment is obviously still wonky because we put everything brand new and it hasn't gone to the alignment shop yet, but enough just to roll off the driveway, maybe around the block. But I'm excited. Oh, whoa. Okay, let's go. I need to adjust the slave because right now we currently cannot go into gear, and I feel like that extra slop that we have right here needs to be compensated so we can build more pressure to open up the slave. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that quick while the car warms up. So I got it adjusted. You can tell my ripped glove right here, but we can go into gear now. I need to adjust it a little bit more so it's not like a full push all the way to the floorboard, but regardless, we have all of our gears. Man, when the clutch is engaged properly, it is actually really easy to drive with the twin disc. It feels really smooth. The steering is a little tight because the front alignment is completely tweaked out, probably pointing left and right with the toe, and you can kind of feel that bindage. When I take it to the alignment shop, it will be on the toe dolly since we are still front wheel drive, and hopefully Nilo can situate the entire alignment specs. But guys, oh my goodness, dude. I don't know how long the car has been sitting on the driveway, man, but this is the first time it's been off since it's been on. And I'm super stoked. Man, I can't wait to have the bumper on and have this car looking like a whole. I'm super excited, man. Holy crap. Let me give you guys a quick little walk around before we go around the block real quick. Currently have a bungee cord because my T-bracket's not on there. The bracket is supported by the intercooler, which obviously is not on the car either. Damn, guys. I'm not gonna lie though. I'm not gonna lie. I do smell a little coolant. But the temperature is holding up. Fan kicked on, and let's go for a spin. Brakes are just a little soft, but it stops really hard. Drives smooth. I mean, the clutch engagement and everything feels really good. Okay, the decel is a little loud, but not inside the car. I am loving it. No weird noises whatsoever. Oh, it's so quiet inside the car. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Guys, we are officially back in an EF sedan. So I got to figure out where this coolant's coming from and situate that. But guys, EF sedan, case swap, soon to be turbo, soon to be all-wheel drive. We're back, man. We're back. So guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this video. I'm gonna utilize the rest of the daylight to do some other things, but 5-lug rear conversion, not necessarily the budget side of things, because I'm using the all-wheel drive trailing arm provided by S1BUILT. Shout out to the fam out there in Florida for always taking care of me. But I did mention what all you're gonna need to do the 5-lug rear conversion for your car, and also options for the brake setup. If you guys saw the front 5-lug conversion, we kept it super budgeted there with the CRV 5-lug spindle from the junkyard. And honestly, the car has right now currently negative camber, but we are super maxed going in, so that means we can get the camber to be positive once we get to the alignment rack. But I'm not worried about it. For the EF and DA guys, I will put the link in the description below for doing the 5-lug conversion on your vehicle and the parts list and everything. This write-up has been around forever, and I think the pictures are still active on the webpage, so be sure to check it out if you're an EF or DA guy. For the EG and DC guys, literally the ITR suspension is a full bolt-on for your vehicle, and if you want to do the budget stuff, I'll be sure to leave all the parts in the description below for everything we use in the 5-lug conversion for my EF sedan. I will also link the 5-lug conversion we did for my car in the description as well too. This is a big step forward. A few more tinkering here and there and here to make sure the engine is all good and dandy, the suspension is nice and straight, and then we're going to move into all the turbo stuff. So we're going to end it here, guys. I hope you enjoy the progress update on the EF sedan 5-lug rear conversion. Be sure to leave this video a thumbs up, and if you guys are interested in any S1 products, link in the description below and use discount code, save 10% off. And if you guys want to stick around for more progress update with the EF sedan, all the stuff that's going to be following now that the car is on all 4 running and driving, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Honestly, there might be some other things in between because we need to drive away for some other festivities. But anyways, hit the subscribe button if you guys want to find out. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.